So for the purpose of this exercise, I made this a much shorter sequence. And now we can actually start focusing on cutting it down. Right now, if I look at my time code, it will tell us that this is 1 minute and 36 seconds. Well, maybe what I want it to be is just a minute. Now, here are the ways that I can start communicating to myself over many days of editing so I remember certain things that are important. When I watch it back, and maybe in this time too, we'll watch it with the multicam closed and we'll actually see all of our cuts and make sure that it flows well. So Shift 0, and now we can watch it. Put it at fit. So right there is the first thing that I know that I want to cut out. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to make sure that none of my clips are selected. If you can see, this is selected. If I kind of hit the dead space over here, it's no longer selected. Notice how they have the kind of tint on them that shows that you're selecting a specific clip. So by making sure that none are selected and just hovering over here, you're going to be able to do an edit, which is called the Add Edit button. Now, if we come over to the sequence over here, you'll see right there that it says Add Edit. And if I press Alt Edit, it makes an edit down the line of all the video and audio tracks. The way to do that with a keyboard shortcut is Control. On a Windows, it's Control K, or on a Mac, it's Command K. And now I just made a cut all the way through. It's much easier than going to the razor tool and going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You do an edit down the line. So what I'm going to do now is hover this clip that I've edited out and I want to remove, and I'm going to label it red. Don't delete it just yet. Mark all the points, add an edit, and select all the points and mark it red that you know that you want to remove in the future. Select all of those segments that you want to remove, make them red, and then when you remove them and you kind of bring your sequence together, it'll make more sense. So come up with a color coordination for yourself too. Like over here, when they're talking, we know that for a while they talk about the whole he's Hungarian thing. So, so about, let's say right here is where that ends. They stop talking about Hungary. And I'm going to roll that out of it. So I'm going to add an edit here by Control K or Command K. And this is its own segment that I'm going to make orange. So I'm going to select all these clips. I'm going to lasso it by holding down over here, holding down on my mouse. And now I'm selecting them all. It's called lassoing. And now if I right click, and remember I'm going to go to label, we have all these colors here. This is what I've decided to do. I've decided that I want to do an orange. And every time I see orange, that means that they're talking about Hungary. Using color as a way to communicate the story to yourself visually is very helpful. What I can also do is go to the end of where the orange segment begins. I'm going to press M on my keyboard, and you see how this little dot appeared? This is a marker. I'm going to double click it, and now the marker dialog box has opened. And I'm going to write Hungary. And I can even go to my marker color of orange. Now this segment lasts for about 30 seconds, so I'm going to make the duration of my marker be about 30 seconds. I'm going to press OK. And now look, I've just written a note that communicates to myself that this segment right here, and I can make it longer or shorter if I just hold down on it, is all about Hungary. And now over here, this is when they actually start talking about the palincinta, the meal that they're making. So let's select all here, right click, label, let's make this pink. And now every time we see pink, we know that this is when they talk about the recipe. And this is actually important stuff in terms of how to make this meal. Again, let's make a marker to signify this. Let's press M. We can double click it to activate the marker dialog box. And we'll write, I don't know how to write palincinta, so I'll just put recipe. We see that there's a purple there, so that could work well. And this segment again, this one lasts about 30 seconds, so we'll put 30 seconds there. The seconds is the third option, by the way, because these are frames. So this is for an hour, a minute, seconds, and frames. And 24 frames equals 1 second, if you didn't know. So if I press OK, look at that. It almost perfectly went over this whole little area. And if I zoom out of my timeline, if I had a whole 10-minute segment here, I could clearly see this is where they talk about Hungary. This is where they go back to the recipe. So we color coordinate it and we mark it up with markers. But maybe you'll find over here, you're like, this segment's a little weird. We want it out, right? This is too much because maybe we need to cut down this whole Hungary segment a bit. We're going to add an edit. Control K or Command K makes a cut down the line. We're going to select it. We're going to find our label and we're going to mark it. I say red because remember, red kind of means stop. And now, every time I see red, when I'm completely done, I've went back and I watched it. I made sure all my angles look good, which, by the way, if you're like, you know, over here, I kind of think we should be seeing her instead of him. You'll notice that it says MC1 because he's camera 1. And every time we see her, it sees MC2. So if you ever want to make a change, all you have to do is press the number on the keyboard that corresponds with that angle. So if I hover over this clip instance that I made and I press 2, it'll change to Erica. If I press 3, it'll change to her pot. And if I press 4, it'll go back to the white shot. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how when you watch it back, if you don't quite like it, you can finesse it. Or maybe we want to see this shot last until this sentence ends. And we can tell that the sentence ends because of the audio waveforms. Another way we can do this is by pressing N on our keyboard, and notice how my mouse has changed to this tool. This tool will only work if you hover it over an edit point. So I'm going to hover it over this edit point, and notice now it actually has become activated. There's no longer that red line over it. If I put it over an edit point, we can use it. I'm going to now roll this clip, this A clip, over this B clip. Think of this as an A clip and a B clip. I'm going to roll this so that we could still see camera 4 in this shot before we go to camera 1. So watch this. We can, if you watch above in the program monitor, you'll see how it looks. And if I snap it to the playhead, now that shot.
My mother's family is half Hungarian, but I'll tell you the funny part about that is people look at my face and they're like, what are you? They kind of look at me and they don't know what to make of me.
Slavic.
Well, they don't know. Like I get.
Maybe we should wait until she says Slavic, and then we'll roll that edit over, right? So let's do that. I think she says we'll watch in the B side of what the program monitor has become for her to say Slavic. We'll go slow. She's blinking, she's thinking about it, and now the S looks like it's forming there, so we'll drop it right there. So let's watch it.
Like, what are you? They kind of look at me and they don't know what to make of me.
Slavic.
Well, they don't know. Like I get all kinds of things. Are you?
I think it looks perfect now. And now when I remove all the red bits that I've said are no good, and then I could select the dead space between the clips, press delete on the keyboard, and go over here, select the dead space, press delete. Now I've pretty much made sure. Ooh, look at that. So this is a flash frame. Sometimes that's going to happen.
Because I looked like I was.
Where you'll see that you've had these little cuts there. You might want to zoom all the way in your timeline to make sure you don't have moments like that. And if you do, just select it, press delete, select that dead space, press delete again, and just make sure that there's not a shot that goes too quickly. Like say we had a cut here and it went to 4, 3, sorry. If we watch it, notice how weird it's gonna look.
People look at my face and they're like, what?
So kind of make sure there's none of those. You can use the roll edit tool by pressing N and just rolling over it. It'll get rid of it. The roll edit tool in the multicam world is our best friend. So review this, go through the sequence, make your edits, and when we meet again in class, I'll answer any questions that you have, and show you some other tools that will be useful for editing your sequences within Cooking with Capel. Have fun!